going into this whole adventure, Cinderella, why is she such an intriguing storybook and now movie character, you think?
Well, I think audiences love Cinderella to be a symbol of their own lives, a character that they can sympathize with and believe in her hopeful success, that their own lives, when challenged, can be happy and they can win in the end, their own sort of personal happiness. So people root for Cinderella. They want her to win. They want her to be successful. And so the character is important to them, I think. And it seemed to me that the old Cinderella was one who passively waits for a prince to rescue her, who doesn't seem to take charge of her own life in a way that would be good for her. Here she does, naturally. Her parents encourage it. They encourage her to look out into the world. So she has a strong sense of herself and a strong natural sense of kindness and courage, which she inherits from her parents. And which she takes on into the story, and I think is not passive. Mm-hmm. She's very proactive, and she's someone we can identify with, and I think is a different, more modern example of how she can inspire us to lead a happier life.
Indeed, the movie is so beautiful, so sumptuous. How much fun was that for you as a director to be able to work with those kinds of sets and those kinds of costumes and, you know, all that Disney could provide you?
It was very, very immersive to go into the art department with Dante Ferretti for the first time. I came to the movie when they had been working on those things for a little while. I was nervous that I wouldn't like it, that maybe I wouldn't do the job. I thought, if they're going one way, maybe I want to see it another way. But I had a sense of what I wanted, and the marriage was good. We met, and I loved it. And Dante's art department was overflowing with things, and Francesca Laschiavo, who's the brilliant set decorator, had materials and props from circus houses in Egypt, and materials from this place in Milano, and it was like a sort of treasure trove. And then Sandy Powell, who I'd wanted to work with for a long time, to see her references were amazing. They were from the 19th century, they were from the 21st century, they were from the 18th century. So we knew that in both cases there would be this real sort of energy underneath it that would be very beautiful, colorful, exuberant, as you say, sumptuous, and make the audience feel like they were going to the ball.
Indeed, we did.
Yeah.
How much of it's perfect casting. Cate Blanchett as the wicked stepmother with an interesting psychology behind it. But you, as a director, working with an actress of that stature, what she could bring to it, how was that to witness? Let's say.
Well, exciting. She's an artist and actress who creates a sense of event. When she meets a sort of iconic character like this, a collision, a beautiful collision will happen. So here you get her ability to embody, tell stories with these amazing costumes of Sandy Powell's. So her entrance into the movie is breathtaking. She has a cat on a leash. She has an amazing hat. She turns into a close-up with it's just sexy movie star charisma to the max. And then she manages also to be reflective and internal and hurt and bruised and wounded at other times in the movie, to the point where you may feel that there's an absolutely tragic underlying quality. So there's the small and the large, the personal and the more public she does beautifully, and you have to say very little. That's the kind of actor which, as a director, the best thing you can possibly do is get out of the way.
Okay, my colleague that I'm covering for also wanted to know your views on this year's Oscar race, especially since there's so many British things in there. Are you following it? Who are you rooting for, maybe?
I always feel that it's a fantastic thing that the recognition goes, and then the period between the nominations. That period is so wonderful. And for me, it's less important who wins. The recognition of who's there is important. And I think a lot of amazing work is there, and I have lots of friends involved whose work I admire. I particularly was pleased for Michael Keaton in Birdman. I think that's a very, very original and unusual movie on a very familiar subject. I've done many accounts of these sort of backstage stories. They do it with such brilliance. I think Keaton is marvelous in it. So is Edward Norton. But of course the Brits, Eddie Redmayne is just triumphant as Stephen Hawking, and Benedict Cumberbatch. It's great in The Imitation Game, as is Keira Knightley, who I adore. So, you know, as always, there's great work to celebrate, and you know, all the other nationalities are firmly represented, and so it'll be interesting. At this stage, I just think we give a big hand to everybody.
Since you worked with Eddie Redmayne, of course, I was maybe reasoning that you were especially rooting for him.
Well, definitely, but I mean, you end up having, you know, pals everywhere. It's such a small business, and I've been doing it for so long, and no, it's beautiful work from Eddie, really beautiful, and I also think that Michael also does something very unusual. So it's I wish they could all have a prize.